Hello again and welcome to the video. Today I've got this wagon. It's a Fleischmann, what looks like a baggage wagon, and I bought this second hand, but it does have a couple of problems, so we're going to give it a clean up today and have a look at what the problems are with it. This has been in storage for some time. It's got quite a dusty roof here. I'm going to give that a clean first. To clean my model trains I use this makeup brush. It's quite a soft feathered one and it works quite well as a duster. So I'm just going to use that to clean off all this mess on the roof. And it also has some dust here on the steps, so I'll give that a clean. So already this wagon's looking much better. Apart from the dust, it's been pretty well cared for and it's quite a nice looking wagon. It's got some nice detail on it. So you can see that all the windows are nicely glazed and it's got these really quite nice surrounds and bars printed on the windows here. Here is the lettering on it, which is well printed on the door. It says Erfurt 3140P, and you can see that the door opens as well. And inside there's a good representation of some baggage there molded into the floor, which is a really nice touch. Further down you can see that it has another logo printed here, Weimar, and it also has some printing on the chassis, which is really nice as well. And it's got these steps too, so these have got a little bit of dirt as well, so I'll just give those a clean as well. And down this end of the wagon it's got some steps and it has some handrails which have been moulded in. They're not extra parts, so it's a good representation, but it's not fantastic. But it is nice to see that they've been picked out in black, along with these lamp brackets at the top, which again are moulded in. There's a bit of paint difference on the roof here between the edges and the silver on the top. But overall, this is a really nice looking wagon and it's got a lot of features and character to it. Looking underneath, it's got a sliding middle wheel, which will help it get round tight corners. And it has these extra tanks fitted as well as a brake gear and a real good representation of the floor there. So the problem I'm seeing here is that the couplings, although they are cantilevered to help it get round corners, they seem to be a bit stiff and misaligned. So I think they've got a bit of a problem. So I'm going to take this wagon apart and see what we can do. You have to be very careful when you're doing this because there's a lot of pieces that could break off, but I think the wagon just pops apart. So there's a couple of little lugs that are holding this together, and with just a little bit of movement I've managed to take the two bits apart. So I'll put this top part aside for the moment and have a look at the chassis here. We have a metal weight which can lift out quite easily, and this looks like it maybe has some capacity to put some lights in here, but there doesn't seem to be any pickups on the wheels, so maybe that's an optional extra for this wagon. It's quite interesting to see it has that, but I can see that what's happening here with the coupling, it seems to have come away from whatever it's meant to be held in, and it's the same story on the other end. So let's see if we can get these out. Okay, so I'm going to have to use a screwdriver to get this up. Okay, so now I can see when I pulled that up, the wheel fell out. Okay, so this comes apart much easier if I remove the wheels first. Wish I'd known that at the start. So obviously this does have some pickup on the wheels. It just seems to be that it's missing the bulbs. And now you can see that the coupling is almost fallen out completely. So I'm just going to ease that out of the hole. So finally I've got this part off the chassis, and there isn't much left on this now, and it is dirty as well, so I'm going to give it a bit of a clean. There's a small stud here on the chassis, and there's this other one here. So the fitting goes between these two parts. So let's slide this up into the slot here. The first stud needs to fit in this slot here, and the second one in there. That seems to work okay. Let's see if we can get the other one in. So I've got them both in now, but I can see that they're not a great fit. This isn't a brilliant mechanism that Fleischmann have got here. Let's see if we can get the metal parts back in. So this flatter one goes in first. And now the other one. So you just push these all the way down. And I can see what the problem is with these couplings is that there's really not much holding them down. These metal parts really should have a piece across here, but they don't. So it's causing the problem with the coupling. But hopefully that would be it sorted now. Okay, so the weight goes on now. There's nothing holding this on, it's just resting loose on top. So let's check the van, it's all okay. So underneath you can see where I guess the light bulb would go through here and through this other hole here. But there doesn't seem to be any problem with this piece. So let's just see if we can get this back together. So these lugs here fit into holes in the clear plastic there. So you just need to be careful to get these to fit together. Okay, I'm just checking the fittings of these couplings. They seem to be working okay. It's not a great mechanism though. The sliding wheel in the middle works okay. Now all we've got to do is get the wheels back in. So they're going to fit inside these metal parts that we just put in. Just a little squeeze out and they pop back in. There we go. Okay, so this wagon is now fixed back together and the couplings seem to work okay. I could have put a couple of bulbs in here if I wanted to, or you could even upgrade it to some LED bulbs if you wanted, but I've chosen not to and just leave it as it is. So let's see how much this wagon weighs. Okay, so this wagon weighs 62 grams. So overall, this wagon from Fleischmann, I think it's quite an old model now. I think maybe Rocco might be making ones like this with the same moulding. I like the parts that are picked out with black, and it has a nice sliding door. I really like the feature that it's got this baggage inside the wagon that you can have a look at if the doors are open, and it's got a few extra parts added on which make it really nice. Having taken it apart, I can see that it does offer the opportunity to have some lighting in here, which is nice. I think it's let down by the couplings though. The way that the cantilever isn't very good. It's certainly not as good as somebody like Markland, but overall this is a really cool looking wagon. I think it would look great on any layout, and especially ones of German railways of the era. If you see this cheap, which you probably will because it's Fleischmann, I would definitely snap it up because it would make a nice little addition to your layout. So I'm going to put this on the turntable, and in the meantime, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to enjoy more videos like this, but that's all for now. See ya!